Welcome to another video of Physics Cambridge O Levels 5054 Paper 1 Variant 2. So let's start with paper. In an experiment, a ball is rolled down a curved track that is about half meter long. What is measured? What is a measuring device that is used to measure the length accurately, right? So you can see there is a rail which is 0.5 meter long, although it can be measured by meter rule, but since it's a curvy path, a meter rule cannot be bent, therefore measuring tape should be used. So it is D. Which rows describes acceleration, displacement, distance and speed? Acceleration is the vector quantity, displacement is also a vector quantity, and distance is a scalar quantity and speed is a scalar quantity, so that's D. What is the size of the resultant force of the two forces? Since he is just asking for the size from head to tail, a 3 Newton should be placed here. So this is going to become a Pythagoras theorem. So 4 square plus 3 square is equals to hypotenuse square. Then you take square root of it, you're going to get 5 as an answer. So that is going to be the 5 Newton. In question number 4, it says the curved line on the distance time graph shows the motion of the toy car. The straight line is the tangent to the curve at 10 is t is equals to 10. What is the speed of toy car at t is equals to 10? You know the gradient of the tangent is going to give you the gradient of the curve at that point. So I'm going to take 2 points, this one and this one. This point which has a value of x as 20 and value of y as 9. For the same point, the value of x is 0 and y is 3. So now I'm going to use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it is going to be 9 minus 3 over 20 minus 0. So that is going to be 6 over 20, which is going to be 3 over 10. So that's 0.3. In question number 5, the diagram shows the four balances W, X, Y, Z. There is a spring balance, top band balance, lever arm balance, two pan balance. The scales of all the balances are calibrated on the earth as to measure the mass, which balance also measures the mass correctly when used on the moon. Since they're using like this thing is going to use compare the masses, so that is going to be same on the moon, and this one also, sorry, not this one, pardon me for this one y, that is also, since it's using the moment, so that will not be getting affected by the value of g, so it's y and z, so that's D. A spacecraft carries a probe to Mars where gravitational field strength is 3.7 and the weight of the probe on the Mars is this. Gravitational field strength on the Earth is this. What are the masses and the weight on the probe on the Earth? That's very easy. I'm going to use W is equal to mg for Mars and I'm going to get a mass of it. So that's 370 into m into 3.7. When I'm going to go and divide this by divide this here, so I'm going to get 100 kg as a mass, and then I'm going to use W is equal to mg for weight on Earth. Mass is 100, g is 9.8, so I'm going to multiply them. I'm going to get 980. So that is going to be the B. In question number 7, the student determines the density of the liquid. The equipment, which equipment does the student use? So since he's asking for the density of the liquid, so he'll be using measuring cylinder for the volume and a balance for the mass, since density is equals to mass over volume, right? Newton's third law describes a pair of forces. Which rules shows whether two forces are of same type and whether they act on the same object? Types of the forces in the pair, uh, they have to be same. And the objects on which they act, that can be different, yes. So now let's move on to question number 7, question number 9, sorry. In question number 9, it says the stopping distance of the car is a sum of thinking distance and braking distance. Yes, that's it. This is the correct equation. Which factors affect the braking distance? Speed of the car, yes, it affects the braking distance. The tiredness of the driver, mm, no, I don't think so. That affects the thinking distance rather than braking distance. Condition of the road, yes, that does. So C is the right answer. A load extension graph for the spring is shown this. Which point is the limit of proportional swing and what is the spring constant of the spring equals to? So limit of proportionality is, since it's a load extension graph, so Q is going to be the limit of proportionality and the gradient of the line PQ is going to give you the springs constant, so that's A. Moving on to question number 11, the uniform beam is pivoted at its midpoint. An object weighing 40 Newton is placed on a beam 20 centimeter to the left of the pivot as shown, right? Which force and position balances the system? So if I'm going to multiply them together, it's going to be 800 Newton per centimeter, Newton centimeter, not per, Newton centimeter of the moment. So the same moment should be there. They multiply to get, yes, 800, but it says to the right of the pivot, so it should be to the right of the pivot, yes. So that can be the right answer. Let's see the other ones. um, 20 Newton, 40 Newton to the right but acting upward. No, it should be going downward because this one is already anti-clockwise movement, so has to be a clockwise movement. So otherwise that they both are not the same moment, so A is the right answer. The worker pulls a rope with a force P through the distance of D in the direction of the force, which causes the block of weight W to move vertical upwards through the height h. How much is work done by the worker? Since we are here for the work done by the worker, so this is the force by the worker and this is the distance moved, so force into distance, that is going to be the work done. A battery is connected in a circuit to light a lamp. Which energy is stored in a battery? It is always a chemical energy. Which property of the both liquid and gases? They always fill their containers. No, liquid does not. They are incompressible. Gases are compressible. They can flow. Yes, they can flow. They have particle in fixed position. That's wrong. So C. In an experiment, the volume of the gas cylinder is measured as the gas of the pressure is increased, and here are some values. It says when the pressure is doubled, the volume is halved. Yeah, that this is right. What is a possible explanation for these? After the pressure is double, the gas starts leaking into the cylinder. After the pressure is double, the gas starts leaking out of the cylinder. The temperature of the gas is constant, so it should be constant because whenever you have a relationship, that has to stay the same. But let's see. Let's see the what's happening afterward. Now I have increased it 1.5 times, so it should be decreasing 1.5 times. I don't think so. It's being done that way. Yes. So it means the gas starts to leak out of the cylinder. Some of the gas is leaking out of the cylinder. So that is your answer. The diagram shows the example of the thermal expansion. The expansion P is the expansion of liquid in the thermometer, expansion of the tight lid in the glass container, then expansion of a long metal beams supporting the roof. Which diagram is a thermal expansion useful? Mm, R is not useful. That is going to destroy it. It's P and Q which are useful because it is going to open the lid, and this one is going to give us the temperature. So it's going to be B. Which statement about the copper explains why it is a better thermal conductor than the glass? Atomic vibration is passed on to the neighboring copper molecule slowly. Oh no, that's wrong. Atom moves through the copper and passes on kinetic energy. Their density changes with the copper. They're free electrons. This is the reason. Glass does not have a free electron, but copper has a free electrons. That's why it's a better thermal conductor. Which statement describes the transfer of thermal energy in the liquid by convection? The decrease in its density causes the heated liquid to rise. Yes, that's the correct statement, but let's see why the other statements are wrong. Free electrons carry energy large distance throughout the liquid. That's for the conduction, not for the convection. Infrared radiation, that's for the radiation. Particles of the liquid vibrate and passes energy, that's also conduction. So it's a. Which characteristic describes the image formed by the vertical plane mirror? Vertical plane mirror is upright and virtual. A ray of light passes into the block by transparent material as shown. What is the refractive index of the transparent material? First of all, you're going to draw a normal here. So that is going to be 55 is your angle of incidence, 30 is your angle of refraction. So sine 55 over sine 30. So when you're going to solve this, you're going to get this as an answer. The diagram shows the light incident on a straight edge of a semicircular glass block after passing through it. Which diagram shows the refraction and angle of incidence equal to that of critical angle? So for the critical angle has to be parallel to the surface, and that's the only like here you can see the angle of refraction is 90. Critical angle's definition is that this is angle of incidence at which the angle of refraction is 90. Which radioactive isotope can be used to measure the cracks uh, or flaws in the metal components? Alpha does not. That's wrong. Yes, beta can, and of a greater half life. Radium alpha cannot. barium, but since its half-life is very small, so it will not be used. Ultrasound is a type of sound wave that is not audible to healthy human ear. What is the range of frequency that contains only ultrasound? So that should be greater than human audible range. So this one, because everything else is in human audible range. And what is the human audible range? That is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. What provides a metal bar? Uh, what provides that a metal bar is a permanent magnet? It attracts the both, and no, it should repel one of them. It attracts the one end of the another magnet. It conducts electricity, repels one end of the magnet. Yes, if there is a repulsion, then we can say it's a magnet, because magnetic material is always attracted by the both end of the magnets. So attraction has no, you can say, there is no point in proving that the substance is a magnet due to the attraction. It is always due to the repulsion. The diagram shows a bar magnet and a four labeled arrows, which the arrow shows the direction of the magnetic field at the point where the arrow is shown. So it is going to be from north to south this way. Sorry, this way. So this A is wrong, B is wrong, C is wrong, D is correct. So D is the final answer. The shoe becomes positively charged by friction when it is rubbed against a carpet. What happens as the shoe becomes charged? Uh, Shoes becomes positively charged, so it means it's losing electron. So negative electrons are transferred to the carpet. Yes, that is the right answer, but let's see why the other ones are wrong. Negative electrons are transferred to the shoe. No, then it should have become negative charge. Positive electrons are not positive. They're not positive. So that's why A is the right answer. Metal conductor is connected between a positive and negative terminal of a battery. Which rule gives the direction of movement of particle that flows in the conductor and their name? Direction of the movement is from negative terminal to positive terminal, because electron always goes from negative to positive terminals. So it is going to be D. Three identical cells are connected in a parallel to the resistor. What is the advantage of using three cells in a parallel rather than using in a single using a single cell? Each cell produces more energy. No, that's wrong. Each cell supplies more charge. No, that's wrong. Each cell takes longer to discharge. Yes, that can be a possible reason. EMF is also same. A student has three 15 ohm resistors. She connects the resistor together in a different arrangement. What is the minimum resistance? What is the maximum resistance? For maximum resistance, they should be in series. So that should be 45. And for the minimum resistance, 1 over 15 plus 1 over 15, they should be parallel. So it's 3 over 15. And if you take a reciprocal of this, because this is equals to 1 over r, so that's going to be 5. So 5 and 45, B. The diagram shows how the variable resistor R connects in the parallel to the lower section of the potential divider. The resistance of R increases. What happens to the two voltmeter reading V1 and V2? Now since the resistance of variable resistor is increasing, so and it is in parallel, so it means the voltage across it also should increase, and the voltage across the fixed resistor should decrease, so that should be B. The power consumption of microwave oven is this, right? Cost of this is 24 cents. What is the cost of using microwave for 10 minutes? So let's convert this into kilowatts. So that's 1.5 kilowatts. Now I'm going to run it for 10 minutes. I need to convert that into hours as well. So that is going to be 4, that's going to be 2.5, and 2.5 times 24, because I'm going to I'm using here is equals to PT. So power I converted into this, time I took this one into hours, so then I multiplied it, I got 2.5, and now I'm multiplying 2.5, which is my energy, a kilowatt hour, with this 24 cents, because 1 kilowatt is for 24 cents. So when I'm going to multiply with my calculator, is it like mm, sorry, that's wrong. There is one problem here. When I'm going to use with the calculator, I'm not going to get, so I'm going to get 0.25. So then I'm going to use this is going to be 6 cents. A coil of a wire above a magnet is dropped. As the coil falls over a magnet, an EMF is induced in the coil across the coil. How does not affect the magnitude of the EMF across this? Changing the number of turns, that will change. Changing the height, mm, I think so, that will also affect, because speed will increase as it goes down. Changing the direction of the magnet, so the north pole is at the bottom. No, that will only change the direction, that will not change the magnitude. Changing the strength of the magnet, yeah, that will increase. The result of an alpha uh, particle scatter experiment gives the evidence for which of the following? So the existence of isotope, no, that's wrong. uh, the radioactive decay, that's wrong. Nuclear fusion, that's wrong. That's the rise of the nuclei. Because if you go on to the statement of alpha scatter experiment, it gives you a statement that there is a small and dense nucleus inside an atom. For 34, uh, what is the composition of the nucleus? So there are 27 new protons, and you're going to subtract them, you're going to get 32 neutrons. In 35, it says the only stable isotope of gold, Au, has 79 protons and 118 neutrons in a nucleus of an atom. How many electrons are there in a neutral atom of this isotope? Um, since it has 79 protons, so it has to be 79 electrons in a neutral atom. A sample of radioactive isotope has a very long half-life. It is placed next to detector. The sheet of different materials are inserted one at a time between the radioactive samples and detector. The background count is subtracted from the reading on the detector, and the corrected count rate are recorded in the table. When no sheet is inserted, it was 450. Thin aluminum sheet, it was 380. Thin lead sheet, it's 285. Thin paper sheet, it is 552. Which type of radiations are emitted by radioactive samples? Because it was already blocked, some by this aluminum sheet and some by this thin lead, so in beta and gamma are present there, and since there is no change with the paper, so it means alpha is not present. In a fission reactor, which particle causes uranium nucleus to split? It is always a neutron, because the neutron is added into the nucleus of uranium, and it becomes highly unstable and it breaks. What is the purpose of moderator in the nuclear reactor? So moderator, it absorbs all the neutron. No, that's not. To produce more neutron. No, that's not. To remove thermal. No, that's not. To slow down neutrons in order to yes, it slows down. It controls the speed of neutrons. So in which region of electromagnetic spectrum does the sun radiates the most energy? So it is at infrared region. 4 stages of the life in the life cycle of a star until it becomes a red giant are shown. uh, so inward forces of gravitational attraction is balanced by outward forces from its center. uh, Internal gravitational collapse produces an increase in temperature. It expands most of the hydrogen and convert it to helium. So it will start at x. Internal gravitational collapse produces increase in the temperature. Then it is going to go to inward forces of gravitational balance with the outward force from its center. Then it is going to be most hydrogen has been converted to helium, and then last one it expands. So it is going to be a D. So I hope you uh, got the concept. If you like the video, please hit the like and share your comment and share this channel with the other students. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.